Cheers to New York. There are many cities around the world that have been famous for the many attractions that they hold. They've been standing for so long that we can't imagine what the world would look like without them. A lot of people can't remember what the place looked like before these cities were built. But then there's Dubai, which is a relatively new city in terms of development. In fact, if you had seen it 30 or 50 years ago, you wouldn't have imagined it would turn out to be the big modern metropolis it is today. With giant leaps towards development, Dubai has transformed into one of the most attractive destinations in the world, which is a big deal considering that the place is right in the middle of a desert. But developers have put a lot of effort, and now this place has become the birthplace of a lot of amazing inventions. Today we'll be looking at some of the Dubai inventions that are going to blow your mind. I'm sure some of the things on this list will surprise you, as you probably thought these things only existed in movies or in people's crazy imagination. Our first entry is Firefighters on the Shore. Every major city around the world should have a very competent firefighting department. Usually these heroes come in their fire trucks to rescue people and put out anything that's threatening their lives. But in Dubai, things took a bit of a different turn in that department. They actually prefer to use jetpacks. Yes, I didn't stutter there. Firefighters use jetpacks to put out fires that arise along the city's long shoreline. Doing so allows them to get a better perspective of the fires and helps them come up with efficient strategies to make everyone safe. Besides, traveling on a jetpack helps them avoid traffic, which is a common problem in big cities like Dubai. It sounds very efficient for a city that's by the water. Our next entry is Futuristic police cars. This is not necessarily a Dubai invention, but it's definitely something that you don't see everywhere in the world. It is an autonomous police car called OTSAW Digital, and it was made in Singapore. Singapore, which like Dubai, has also taken huge steps towards development. They signed an agreement with Dubai to use these police cars around the city. They're very small and funny looking, but they use the same technology that autonomous vehicles use, and they are capable of searching for wanted individuals or vehicles and spotting other suspicious activities without the need to have a human riding on them. Our next entry is the largest urban zipline. Ziplining is an experience that is usually seen in jungles and other locations that are off the beaten path. However, this is something that you can also experience in Dubai. And just like many things in this city, their zipline is one of the most amazing things you'll ever get to try in your entire life. It's called the X-Line and is considered the longest urban zipline in the world. It's about 1 kilometer long and you can travel on at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour. That's very fast for a zipline, but it'll probably feel longer as you go through skyscrapers and other sites along this steep route before you finally land at the top of the Dubai Marina Mall. One of the coolest things about it is that there are 2 X-Lines running at the same time, so you can try it along with your best friend and see who's the first to make it to the other side for bragging rights. Our next entry is drone taxis. Like I said, traffic is one of the biggest problems in the big cities, but that is no longer something that everyone has to experience while living in Dubai. A few years ago, Dubai tested its first autonomous air taxi, which is a self-flying taxi service. In other words, you can skip the stress of traffic by riding on one of these. They're still working on the logistics to make it available to the public, but the one thing that matters is that the technology already exists, and it can certainly change the way people move from place to place. As long as your trip isn't 30 minutes, you could soon fly on one of these. But would you trust it even if it doesn't have a human pilot? If I can avoid traffic while flying, I probably still wouldn't do it, honestly. Who knows, though? Maybe we'll get these flying taxis in other cities in the near future. Our next entry is Robocop. What's more efficient than a futuristic police car? A robot that is also a cop. Robert Cop, even. And if you like old school sci-fi movies, then you might be familiar with these robots thanks to that movie from the 80s in which we were introduced to the idea of Robocop. Don't watch it if you're a kid, it's an intense movie. It seems like the idea is no longer just a sci-fi concept. It is now a reality in Dubai. These robots were first introduced to the public in the summer of 2017. They come with a camera that can be used to identify suspects and transmit live images whenever is necessary. You can also walk up to them and submit crime reports and any questions just like you would with a regular police officer. The authorities of Dubai say that a quarter of their police department will be made out of these robots by the year 2030. What sounds like a great premise for a weird sci-fi movie is going to be reality at some point, and I just don't know how to feel about that, honestly. Our next entry is the Solar Park. One of the most important things in a city is the production of energy. People in the cities need light, water, internet, and a lot of resources to have a decent life. I mean, we all need those things, but come on. People in the cities make a big deal out of everything as soon as the internet is down, or the electricity goes out. However, sometimes producing energy takes a toll on the environment. That's why many cities around the world are doing their best to bring clean energy solutions to their residents, such as increasing the use of solar panels, and Dubai is one of the cities that is very serious about it. Their current solar park is about to stretch and cover a territory of 83 square miles, and that's bigger than Washington, D.C. This solar complex is going to be bigger than the capital of the US, and they're also going to build the tallest solar tower in the world, which will be 863 meters tall. With these, they plan to have 25% of the city rely on solar energy by the year 2030, and 75% by 2050. In other words, they want to do their best to provide clean energy to all of their citizens. Our next entry is a global village. What started as a group of kiosks back in 1997 is now perhaps the world's largest tourist project. With more than 5 million visitors every year, Global Village became Dubai's first cultural, entertainment, and shopping destination ideal for families. For the price of 15 dirhams, or about $4, you can enter this place that is about 1,600,000 square meters, which is about half as big as a Central Park in New York. It has an international theme with 26 different pavilions that represent about 80 different countries from around the world. So, in other words, entering this place is like having a little trip around the world in just one go. Obviously, the Global Village is a very ambitious project, and it definitely adds to all of the fun that Dubai has to offer. Our next entry is the tallest building in the world. We couldn't continue this list without including the tallest building in the world. That's right, the tallest building in the world is in Dubai, and it is called Burj Khalifa. This massive skyscraper was built in 2010 and it stands at 2,717 feet tall, with 163 floors. Even though the place opened in 2010, its construction started in 2004 and it took them 5 years to complete its exterior. Inside this building you can find some of the most prestigious residences in the world, as well as a fine dining restaurant and the tallest pool in the world on the 76th floor. Right outside the building you can find the Dubai Fountain, which is a fountain system that cost $217 million to be made. The building is also linked to an impressive park and an observation deck from which you can get some of the most amazing views in the city. Now it's time for the day's best pick. While I'm sure that all of the creations I've shown you so far are blowing your mind, there is something that will definitely take things to a whole new level, and you can see it in the picture I chose for you today. It's an underwater train. Sure, that sounds pretty cool, am I right? But wait till you hear about the train that Dubai is developing. Not only is it an underwater one, but it's also going to be one of the fastest in the world. Let's check it out with Dubai's underwater train. There are already some underwater trains in the world. One of them is in Japan, and the other one is the famous tunnel that connects France to the United Kingdom. But now it's Dubai's turn. They're working on one that will connect their city to Mumbai, which is almost a distance of 2,000 kilometers or 1,242 miles. This train will transport passengers traveling across India and the United Arab Emirates, but it will also transport oil and other goods. And it's not going to be just any train, it's going to be a bullet train. So traveling between the two cities will take a bit less than 2 hours, which beats the current 3-hour flights that people have to use to travel between Mumbai and Dubai. This train will change the lives of many people. People in India will be able to easily take a day trip to Dubai and come back to their homes at night. Isn't that exciting? But there is one more invention that's just as interesting. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. The Mars Science City. Do you think you've seen it all? Well, think again. On top of all the amazing things I've shown you so far, there's one more invention that will make a big difference in the world. It is a space simulation city that will allow people to experience what it's like to live on Mars. For a modest budget of $135 million and a space of 1.9 million square feet, Dubai will develop a place called Mars Science City, and it's said that it will simulate the living conditions of the red planet. It sounds like a great destination for those of us that always wanted to travel to a different planet, but Mars Science City isn't just an attraction. It's actually the perfect ground for research. Scientists will be able to come here and use greenhouses to figure out how to develop agricultural practices in outer space. They can also learn about the way the sun hits the red planet. This space will pretty much prepare anyone who wants to actually go to Mars in the future. Which of these creations would you like to see someday? Have you ever been to Dubai? What was it like? Well, let us know in the comments section down below. With all that said and done, thank you all for watching our video, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody!